If you're thinking about selling, there's a question that comes up every single year around this time. Should I list now or should I wait until the spring? Most sellers already have a gut feeling about this, and sometimes it's based on something they've heard or what the neighbor did, and sometimes it's just like that's when you list your house. Today, I want to walk through what the Redmond data actually shows. I'm not here to tell you what to do because I'm not a know it all realtor, but I want to help you understand the trade offs before you decide. Spring has a reputation: more buyers, more activities, homes flying off the market. And to be fair, that reputation didn't come out of nowhere, but what often gets lost is why spring feels different and what actually changes versus what just feels more comfortable for sellers, because busy and better are not always the same thing. I usually hear this question from sellers who are doing everything right. They're prepared, they're organized, they're not in a rush. They just don't want to look back later and wonder if they missed a moment. And honestly, that's a reasonable concern. When people get stuck, is assuming there's one correct answer that applies to everyone, when really this decision has more to do with how you want the sale to feel more than the moment it happens. Let's start with speed, because that's usually the first thing people care about. When you look at the Redmond sales last year, January and February, compared to March through May, homes listed in the spring did tend to go under contract faster. In the winter, the median days were like 67, and in spring, they were closer to the high 20s. So, yeah, spring listings usually move a little bit quicker, but here's the part that sellers don't always think about. Speed's great if speed's your top priority. Not every seller is optimized for speed. Some people care more about flexibility, less showings, or like an easier process overall. Now let's talk about price, because this is where the expectations can get a little bit fuzzy. Even though spring homes sell faster, the sold to list ratio isn't actually that different. Winter homes are selling just under list price on average, and spring homes are closing closer to or right at asking. And that gives us a little insight. Spring doesn't automatically give sellers more negotiating power. What it usually means is that pricing is tighter from the start. You don't get more room to try and see. You get more eyes, faster feedback, and quicker consequences if the price is off. One common misunderstanding I see is that spring gives sellers more control. What it actually gives them is more feedback, more showings, more opinions, more comparisons. That can be a good thing, but can also mean that the market reacts super fast if things aren't lining up. So if you're waiting because you think spring gives you more room to experiment with the price, that's usually not how it plays out. This is where the seller experience really starts to diverge. In the spring, more than half the homes that are selling go within the first 30 days. In the winter, that number is closer to a third. And that early activity matters. It reassures the sellers that they didn't mess up. It shortens the period of uncertainty, and honestly, it just feels better to have momentum early on. For some sellers, that peace of mind alone makes spring the right choice. But here's the trade-off. Spring doesn't just bring more buyers, it also brings more listings, more competition, more choices for the buyers, less margin for error. Listing now means fewer competing homes and a smaller but more serious audience. Listing in the spring often means faster activity, but less forgiveness if pricing or preparation isn't right. So the real question isn't, is spring better? It's, how much competition are you comfortable with? How important is early momentum to you? How much flexibility do you want in the market when the market gives you feedback? Some sellers really value the speed and validation. Others like fewer showing, quieter process. Neither's wrong. They just lead to very different experiences. And when a seller feels stress, it's not because they chose the wrong season. It's because they didn't think through these trade-offs ahead of time. If you're thinking about selling in Redmond, Oregon, understanding these trade-offs ahead of time can make the process feel a lot less stressful. It's not about timing the market perfectly. It's about choosing the timing that fits you.